So what we got here is some venison. My nephew got a deer, and we're going to make him some jerky. I am what I am. These are little cuts of meat that we have seasoned, and we're going with cure and seasoning. So what we used was this Eastman Outdoors jerky cure in the hickory flavor. I used a little hickory liquid smoke. I added just a little bit of Dale's seasoning. I've added too much of that before, and then we used pepper. So that's what we used to season the jerky. And this is ground up meat. And we have some other kind over here. This has got some jalapenos in it and some black pepper, so it'll be a little hotter. And we're gonna let this set overnight in the fridge. And then tomorrow we're gonna take a little jerky gun, shoot it out onto our dehydrator. And then about 8 hours after that, 5 to 8 hours after that, we'll have deer venison jerky, homemade. Man, it smells so good already, doesn't it? You like deer jerky?
Yeah. Yep.
What do you like about it?
It's flavorful.
It's flavorful? That's what you like about deer jerky?
Yeah. What do you like about deer jerky?
Well, venison is one of the leanest meats you can eat. So it's high in protein, low in fat, and you can take it with you anywhere once it's jerky, and it stays good for a long time. Preserved by being cured and dried. And so you can sustain yourself and give yourself energy throughout the day with a homemade snack that you harvested from the wild. That's why I like deer jerky. You know, just the normal grind. Taking Serenity a whole bunch of chemicals and some chicken breast to school. Just another day. Right, babe?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. Yes. Science fair is only once a year, though. Thank goodness.
Alright, so we're going to cook a few different things. Start this jerky that we started marinating yesterday. So, this is the thin cut sliced meat, and this is the ground meat. Neither one of these are hot. So, we're going to put them in this dehydrator trays right here. We're just going to... Now you can do this in the oven too. But I'm just going to take each piece, kind of spread it out on top of the trays like this. These are all cut about 1/4 inch thick, maybe a little less, but they're very thin pieces of meat, and we're just going to make sure we have a little bit of space around every piece so that the air will flow around all this. Now if you do this in the oven, you want to set it at the lowest setting. Kind of put a toothpick through here and hang it between the racks like this, and then just prop your door open, and it'll dry at the same night just as well. I just like using this because then I can still use my oven and whatever. It can run off in the back. So now one thing I do is soon as I put that on there, before I dry it, I just throw a little bit of pepper on here. And it's not going to make it hot, but it does give it that like almost like a smoky flavor without salting it. So make sure I've taken advantage of all the space that I have, and then we'll go to the next tray. Now, as this goes, it'll take a few hours, and we'll just keep an eye on it. Sometimes it takes 3 hours, sometimes it's 4 hours. You'll know when it's done by the way it looks, feels. You can kind of tear it apart, see what it looks like inside. So you just want to keep checking it. And I'm going to rotate the trays as we go. So I'll take the bottom one and move it to the top, and then this one will go to the bottom, and we'll just keep rotating trays until it's all. It does have pretty good airflow, and most of them do, but I do it regardless because it just seems to work better and everything dries out more consistently and faster, I think. So it looks like we're going to be able to get this on 2 trays, I think. And then we'll start. I'll show you what we're going to do with the ground up meat, which you can do with ground beef. I wouldn't recommend fowl, but pork, as long as you're going to heat dry it and not a lot of fat from the pork, you know, because you can make smoked meat and smoked ham and stuff like that, as long as it's salted, which we cure it, and dried, it'll last, it'll be good. There we go. And then just a little bit of pepper, so I don't like it. I don't want it hot. I just want the. Okay. Now, with this, we're going to use this jerky gun stuffer thing. You just open this up, take a knife or your fingers or whatever. Take some of your processed meats and pack this thing in here. Pack your meat right into this gun. This is how they make most of the jerky that you buy. It's like this. And then this is why most of the jerky you buy is done this way, because look at that. Look how easy that is. Rather than cutting all those little slices, you got a 1/4 inch little thing here that just shoots it out. They have 2 other adapters for this, and you can still buy these. This one's pretty old, but had 2 of these. I have 1. I look for them every time we go places. Garage sales. So they have 2 more adapters. I'll show you them when I get done with this right here. I've used them before. They're okay. The bigger one's better than the smaller one. It just seems like the smaller one, by the time it's done, it's just so dried out. It's like leather, and it's just not worth it. So but the bigger one's not too bad. This is definitely the best way though, my opinion. So here's the other 2. Got this big one here. And then there's a smaller one. And this one's I don't ever use. It looks like tiny, when it gets done drying out, there's like tiny little turds. I don't know. This one's not too bad though. And sometimes I'll just do it different. Like if I have a hot and a normal, I'll make the hot in the round, because it's basically the same as this flat. And then you can tell, you know, so nobody's getting anything right hot. They can just tell by the style of the stuff. So it looks like I'm gonna have enough for one more fill. And I don't know that I'm going to have enough room on here for one more fill, so I have to pack this in here tight. I thought I had a couple extra trays around here somewhere, but I haven't found them. Thought it was a hair, but it's just strip and tendon. A piece of tendon. Yes, this deer was processed by us, by hand. Austin did it. I did not help with this one, but usually what I'm doing. Just gonna put all this back in here. Fit what I can where I can. It's so good. This stuff does not last. It just doesn't. That's why you gotta have an easy way to make it, because as soon as you make it, I mean, it's gone. Need about one more tray. So the blower goes on the top, but I put the cuts because they seem to take a little bit longer for some reason than this ground stuff also. So I put them on the bottom because that usually dries out first. So, but we'll rotate them and keep an eye on them. So here's what it looks like. I have another dehydrator around here somewhere. I'm just not sure where it's at. And I have another batch to do, which is all hot. And we'll just show you, since I've showed you the process, we'll show you what it turns out like. And I'll show you what this looks like after it's dehydrated for a while. And maybe a little bit in between. So this heats up, blows air right down through the center, all dries out. A little noisy. Another good way to do this is with a smoker. You can just turn it down to a low setting, hang them from the racks just like you would your oven. But I'm in between smokers right now, so I'm doing it with that. So it's 3:41. We put the jerky on about 10 or 15 minutes ago. And we'll see what time it is when it's done. It's 4:25. See how this thing's doing. Ooh, it's getting there. Still a little soft. See, I'm squeezing. It's not rubbery. It's just squishy. So that's not done. Still squishy. Squishy, so not done. Looking really good though. $6.51. See how the jerky's doing. I mean, it needs to be a little bit longer. The end of this is pretty good, but this stuff's still soft. I'd say we need to get to selling. Flea market life. 8:13. That one's done. And that's good. This I think needs to be done a little bit longer. Let's check this tray. Ooh, those are done. That's all done. That one's not. That one's not. Mmm. Man, that's real good. Oh my goodness. You can't eat it all, Tammy. You gotta give it back to Austin.
I can taste that.
But I see so much, and you know, you guys just is it too much that you have? You just try to, you know.
So this is our overstock.
Okay.
So we're trying to free up some space. We've got an eBay store with 13,000 items.
What do you think?
Good.
All right, what did we say?
Is it gonna be okay? It's good, huh? Man, it's good.
I'm gonna give you a card tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, let's see.
And if we can work together.
If it's still soft, I'm putting it on this tray.
We do it on a different scale.
We're gonna dry it some more.
You just gotta
If I think it's done,
move stuff, and it just doesn't.
then I'm moving it over there. Some of these are done. Some of these are a little thicker. They could use a little bit longer. They don't have to be completely perfect at this point because they're pretty much dry. You want the thick parts down where it's blown, so it's kind of good to overlap them at this point because you can put some of the thinner parts on top of another piece and then the thick part you leave down where it's venting. So I just go through and separate this. That one's all done. This one's a little not done.
Can all go on the same one, right? It's not.
It's all the same. Just some are cuts and some are ground.
That one.
That one's good. So thin.
And I would do a lot of this bigger stuff. I just don't have the space right now. You like the one? You don't like the one off. You want the multiple.
Done. You just tear apart however long you want them. See? You got a little stick of jerky. That's so good. Bam, bam, bam. So we're gonna put these back on. I'm gonna set them somewhere about in the middle. One tray up, 2 trays down, about the bottom of the heat. Right at the bottom of this blower thing. There. Maybe another 45 minutes. There's just one thing to remember about making venison jerky, or a few things to remember. It is amazing treat if you can do it, but you could do the same process with beef. And the reason I tell you that is because with venison, there's a season for the deer. You have to have a license, and you have to harvest it properly and within the law. So I don't think there's anywhere you can just buy venison, and even the skin and the processed meat has to travel with a tag number from the shooter the whole time until it's eaten. So my nephew had to send the tag number with the meat for me to do this. 9:04. I think it needs just a little bit longer. I'd eat it like that, but Some people won't, so. We're gonna let go just a little bit longer. Do it right. It's 10:09. Did you like this video? You see that like button? Go ahead and push it. And subscribe so you stay up to date with all of our adventures. So until next time,
Peace, everyone.
later, y'all.